Hey, Black America, I have a few questions to ask you, okay? I've been thinking, this three-fifth compromise stuff, why is it that when they teach you in history, they teach it in a way that's so racially motivated charge, right? And what I mean by that is that they want you to arouse in some sort of rouse your feelings when you hear three-fifths compromise. When I look at it, when I look at how they were teaching me, and it was more like a way they wanted me to think about it. It was only from the standpoint that we as Black Americans, as slaves, were only considered three-fifths of a person. But no one bothered to ask, what about the individuals who wanted us as considered as one? When I look at the compromise, it helped two different, I guess, parties with two different views come to some sort of an agreement. Now, why? I wonder what those people who were only wanting to consider us as three-fifths, why did they consider that? Whereas those on the other side of the argument who wanted to consider our whole votes as one, why did they want to do that in a time when slavery existed? No one brings us, like no one taught us or tried to discuss this when we're talking about history from that, standpoint, from that context. If you want to base it, if you want to base our actions in our society and how a lot of these laws were passed, I do think context morality needs to be, taken into consideration, because I bet those who were going around saying, look, they didn't even see you. The Republicans up there, they didn't even see you as a whole person. They only saw you as three-fifths of a person. How could you possibly vote for them? Okay, I'm going to ask, well, why did they consider us three-fifths of a person? What were my living standards down in the South? And I bet every single one of them would say, you weren't free, you were a slave, you lived in shacks, you didn't have the best conditions, you were kept skinny, you weren't really given a lot of food, mostly scraps and all that great stuff. You weren't given the creme de la crop. And if you're a woman and you had kids, well, 9 times out of 10, you will be sold and separated. You'll probably never ever see them again. But, your vote will still count as one. So, when I look at the individual who's trying to, or the individuals who are really, really, really trying to push to have slaves, the whole population of slaves being counted, and then telling, us once, slavery had been abolished, that those people didn't even really care about you. They only considered you as three-fifths. I'm going to have to beg the question here. Maybe they were protecting us from people like you who wanted to exploit people like me. So they didn't really have a choice. You weren't trying to give us up, but yet they weren't going to let you expand slavery. And honestly, I don't blame them. Who would? Like, if you put it in that context, it really makes those who were trying to defend that, hey, they didn't even consider you as a whole person, it makes them morally subjective to whether or not I think they're good for society. Because if you can't morally object that maybe we shouldn't exploit people who aren't free, something is broken inside of you. So, Black America, ask yourself, why is it that they only focused on three-fifths of a person and emphasized how it pretty much tried to dehumanize us, when in actuality, the people who wanted us to be counted as a whole vote, it would have benefited them. They would have got something, not us. They would have used their power to expand slavery, expand it. The three-fifths stopped it. So look at it from a different context. Look at it from a different perspective, at a standpoint, and take everything into consideration. Not just your feelings of today's current standards of, how we treat people in society, but look at it also with this mindset, but with the context of what was the reality back then. Who were the bad guys? The ones who wanted your vote to be counted, or the ones who were trying to limit your vote because you weren't free? Now ask yourself, when these illegal migration, because not all migrants are immigrants. Okay, let's get that right. Why would a party, the same party that wanted to use slaves as and consider them as one instead of 3/5, the same people of the party that wanted that to actually exist, count slaves as one? Why would these individuals do the same for illegal migrants that come here? Why would they promote that and do and entice that more than those trying to come here the legal way? It's to exploit. And they're using the same tactics now like they did when they were teaching history when it came to the 3/5 compromise. They were using your rage, your feelings. They wanted you to get upset that you were not considered 3/5 of a person, right? Now they want you to get upset that, oh, you want to keep people from being able to pursue liberty, happiness, and the pursuit of liberty, happiness, and freedom. You want them to not be able to do that. No one said this about people who are not citizens of America. We want people to pursue that. We want people to be here legally. We want them to be able to pursue their happiness. But you need to be here legally. No one is going to stop you. But they try to guilt you. They try to make you feel so bad by using, you just want to stop people from pursuing their liberty and their happiness. You are the bad guys, without really thinking, well, how are they going to be living here? How are they going to be treated? Will they even have rights? And on top of that, what are their rights? Should they just be given the same opportunities that Americans who are born here, who are here and who are eligible to these rights by birth? Should they be given the same as someone who wasn't same rights and privileges as someone who wasn't born here? Logically, who does this benefit? The individuals who want to disenfranchise you by using I guess, I don't know what you want to call that, platitudes of helping others and at least helping individuals come here to pursue a better life. Would you like those individuals who are pushing that sort of narrative for their own motives without you truly understanding the outcomes of a lot of these individuals that come through this route? Like, why would they promote that? Why would they promote illegal migration over illegal immigration? There's a reason to it. And I think maybe if you look at it from that standpoint, just maybe you might get a little queasy when you see Hispanics and Latin people and people who are coming through the border who are come from different other cultures, how they could possibly be getting exploited, all to influence a vote. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. This party, the Democrats, I'm sorry, the ones who really who wanted to benefit from 3/5 compromise by not letting it happen and actually consider us as one, they had a lot to benefit from that. And it wasn't going to be in our favor. Never in our favor. If we would have been counted as one, the South would have had a lot of power when it came to law. And if they didn't care about you then, when you were a slave, how bad do you think it would have gotten if they had actually had that many more delegates when it came to representation? Maybe their expansion of slavery would have happened. Maybe slavery would have encompassed all of America. people never think that far. People never think into the ulterior motives. They just look at like the feelings, and they just look at how this is going to arise feelings and uprising if people don't get their right way. So I just think people just need to be cautious of those who are always trying to say their way is the best way, and especially when especially when they're trying to guilt trip you. There's always something there. Always something there. I don't look at the three-fifths compromise now as people not considering me as a human being. I see them as people who did consider me as a human being and didn't want me to be exploited or my ancestors to be exploited. If we thought like that, I think a lot less things would happen.